Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Dick. And wow, we are into a lot of sports
Tournament
going on.
time. All directions
Yes,
this morning.
yes. We'll start with a recap, a little bit of the state individual wrestling tournament, where a number of area individuals did pretty well.
Yeah, just a good showing by the guys and girls from around
Yes.
the area. So we'll start off in Division I boys, where Carter Freeman of Wisconsin Rapids Lincoln took first place at 126 pounds. He defeated Easton Cooper of D.C. Everest 3-1 in the finals. So congratulations to Carter. His teammate Bennett Weidman at 157 finished sixth. Marshfield's Caleb Dene at 165 finished second, lost a tough one in the finals to Liam Crook of Kaukauna, and those guys have been ranked 1-2 all season, Larry, in Division I, and Crook got the best of Dene this time, 4-1. Caleb, a junior, finishes with a record of 53-1. So
yeah, still not bad.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But he's got another year, to get back on to get on top of that podium. So, and then his teammate Owen Griesbach of Marshfield at 175 finished third. In Division II, at 150, Hudson Sebesto Opelt of NGL finished fifth. At 157, Tanner Halupka of Abbey Colby, finished second. He lost to Gage Laschewitz in double overtime in the finals, and that was the third matchup between the two. They met in the championship with the regional finals, sectional finals, and state finals. So they knew each other pretty well coming in. So.
Obviously, double overtime.
Yeah. But Tanner had a great career. I believe he was a three-time placer at state, and, of course, lost his junior year to a knee injury. So congratulations to him.
Yeah.
At 285, Willie Graham of Stanley Boyd, and Willie, just a sophomore, finished fifth. So he's a pretty good kid. Just want to mention the other two NGL wrestlers down there, Larry. Ridge Tibbett at 113 and Dane Luchtron at 190. Both took tough losses on Thursday night, but Ridge, a sophomore, I hope to see him back. And then Dane, a four-time sectional qualifier, finally got down to state and finished off a great career with a state qualifying performance. Okay.
Yeah, and he had, I believe, 100 wins, over 100 wins in his career.
And the gentleman he lost to 10-6 on Thursday night ended up finishing fourth, Ross Christ from. So he did not lose to just anybody.
Yeah, right.
So in Division III, Blake Underwood of Marathon finished second at 106, finished 53-2. He lost in the finals 1-0 to Grunsfelder of Pecatonica. That was just a tremendous match.
Wow.
And in his another kid, Johnson from Cumberland, who's right up there with those two, finished third. So just a tremendous 106 bracket.
You said it was going to be a tough one.
Right. At 113, Caleb Lodell from Cadott finished fourth. Derek Goddard from Auburndale finished sixth. At 120, Trenton Canoyer from Stratford finished third. At 126, Zaid Grassel from Auburndale was third. Aaron Knetter of Stratford was sixth. At 132, Swain Stencil of Marathon was sixth. At 144, Colton Weiler finished second, lost a tough one in the finals to Ian Kropp of Fenimore, 3-2. Colton finishes his junior year with a record of 51-2 too. So he's got another year to get back up there too.
And you had talked about that Fenimore team.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They got some good
awesome.
wrestlers.
We'll be mentioning them here in a few
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
At 157, Troy Duhlman of Gilman, Cornell, Lake Holcomb finished fifth. At 175, Carter Leak of Stratford lost in the finals 7-5 to David Mallon of Aquinas. Carter finishes his year at 51-2. At 190, Noah Lucio of Stratford finished fourth. And at 215, Axel Teagles of Cadott finished sixth. So let's go to the girls then, where at 100 pounds, Ava Gardner from Marshfield finished first. She defeated two-time champion Brooke Corrigan of De Pere. And Brooke was a very highly rated in the country for girls.
Oh, wow.
And Ava just gave her a good one. 17-4 she beat her. So Ava worked very hard this last year. And of course, she's done a lot of wrestling with guys, and she showed it Saturday night. So
congratulations.
Yeah. And also in that 100-pound bracket, Izzy Sonntag from Cadott finished third. So very good 100-pound bracket for the girls. And then at 132, Riley Hanahan of Black River Falls finished second. She lost in the finals 5-2 to Lily Banks of Menasha. So a great performance by all the wrestlers down there, Larry.
Yeah.
So
I understand there's going to be a girls wrestler that could be a 4-time state champ next year.
It's Brooke. I forget her last name, but she's from New London, and she is a 3-time champion. And she will be trying to become the first girls 4-time state champion next year. So
All right.
be something to look forward to.
Yes, a
And
wrestler
I
out of
also
New
want to
London.
mention this freshman, and I forget what weight she was with the girls, but she finished, and I forget where she was from, but she finished 41-0 with 41 pins too. So they call that an immaculate season.
I would say yes, that would be it. All right, so that's the individual wrestling championships last weekend. Now they go to the state wrestling, the team wrestling, I should say, for this coming weekend down at the UW Fieldhouse, and some pretty good teams are going to be down there.
Yeah, we'll start with the division quarterfinals on Friday night in Division 1, where they have 8 teams. Seeded 1 is Kakana, and they will take on number 8 Homestead. Number 4 Menominee will take on number 5 McWanago. Number 3 Wisconsin Rapids will take on number 6 Hartford Union. And number 2 Muskego will take on number 7 Arrowhead. This is a loaded field, Larry.
Yeah.
I've thought very highly of the Rapids team all season. I thought they were a little low seeded, but I think they are going to come back and prove that different. My feeling, and I think Menominee could also be in there, but the semis will follow. But to me, I think the finals kind of looks like a Kakana Wisconsin Rapids matchup. So
Okay.
we will see that.
All right.
So.
Championship will be on Saturday afternoon. All right, Division 2, what do you got there?
Okay, Luxembourg Casco is seeded number 1. They will take on number 4 Kewaskum. And number 2 St. Croix Falls will take on number 3 Prairie du Chien. And I look for a Luxembourg Casco St. Croix Falls final, and that should be a dandy.
Okay.
Both teams with a lot of talented wrestlers. So,
All right.
But,
no upsets there, you don't think?
No, I don't think so. I know both Kewaskum and Prairie du Chien have very good wrestlers, but I don't think neither are as deep as the other two.
Okay.
So,
All right. And then in Division 3.
yeah, Fenimore comes in with, I believe, 3 state champions. They are seeded number 1, and they will take on number 4 Cumberland. Now, I will not take Cumberland lightly. Any team that beats Stratford for a sectional championship, I do not take lightly.
Yeah.
And they have got some awesome individuals, starting with Braden Johnson at 106, and then his brother at 138, Dawson Johnson, who just finished off a 4-time state championship career. So I do not take Cumberland lightly, but I do think Fenimore is going to probably have enough to beat them, though.
Okay.
So, and then in number 2, Wyawega Fremont versus number 3 Coleman. I don't know a lot about Wyawega Fremont, but they have got them seeded very highly. Coleman, of course, has always been a very tough. But we'll just go with the seed here and say Wyawega Fremont is going to beat Coleman. But I look for Fenimore to beat Wyawega Fremont in the finals. So, and all 3 championship matches will be at 3:00 on Saturday, and those are all at the field house, or affectionately known as the barn.
Yes, the barn. You ever been down there for this team wrestling?
Not for team wrestling. The last time I was inside the field house was when Ryan Hoffman was wrestling down there.
How many mats do they put in there then?
There were 6 then.
Oh, there was.
There
Okay,
were
so they have
6.
enough room for that.
They had enough room, yeah.
Okay.
It was well run. It looked crowded, but it was...
right.
But, I got to sit in the upper deck there. That was not a real...
Yeah,
one of my
that's
pleasant memories.
That's not one of the better places to
I
be.
kind of found a friendly beam to hang on to.
I would too. I've been in that upper deck there. That's not the place to be in the old barn. All right, so state team wrestling coming up this weekend down in Madison. It's going to be a busy weekend down in Madison because they've got the state hockey tournament going on as well. The 54th boys and the 23rd girls state hockey, and that starts. Actually, it's already underway as New Richmond is taking on Tomahawk right now in a Division II semifinal. New Richmond is the defending champ, and then St. Mary Springs will take on River Falls this afternoon at 1:30. Division I semifinals for the boys will be tomorrow, and that's the only action tomorrow for state hockey.
They've got 8 teams, I believe.
And then the girls will have their semifinals tonight.
Yes.
And a lot of those are co-ops, of course. You've got DC Everest co-op, or Central Wisconsin Storm, as they're known around here,
you bet.
And Sun Prairie West Co-op. And I looked at that. I think there's like 7 schools that are involved in that co-op.
Oh my goodness! You would think you could pull probably enough out of the 2 schools in Sun Prairie.
You would think, yeah, but there's a lot of schools involved in that one.
I imagine there's a lot of small schools on
Yeah.
the edges that
Yeah.
probably get involved there too. So
And then River Falls, which is River Falls, Baldwin Woodville, St. Croix Central Co-op, or the Fusion, as they are known around here. They will take on De Pere Co-op, another one that has a lot of teams, and they're the defending champs
yep.
in girls state hockey, and they only have one division in girls, so they have their semifinals, and then they'll have their championship on Saturday.
Isn't that interesting in Division II that River Falls and New Richmond are 10 miles apart and both made the state tournament? But you never know how sectional lines are drawn, I guess.
Well, that's boys though.
Boys, but that's what I mean. I was
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah, yeah. It's well, that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
We looked at some of these basketball
Yeah.
matchups, Abbotsford against Colby, and
Yeah.
then you got other teams that are going
Yeah.
150 miles away.
They made up for it for Abbotsford with the boys, though. They had to go up to Washburn. They used all their gas money there. So.
I guess, yeah. Well, the Neilsville girls basketball team, they won their 6th straight regional championship, so they now move on to play Westfield tonight at Stevens Point in a Division IV sectional semifinal. And I don't know a lot about Westfield, except they got a pretty good girl that scores about 20 a
Yeah,
game.
they are looking at their roster. They're very junior oriented.
Okay.
Carly Drews, the girl you speak of, is I believe the lone senior on the team, but she averages 21 points and I believe 8 or 9 rebounds a game. So
she's going to Viterbo next year.
okay, not a lot of height.
No,
and
no.
so
Neilsville should match up.
yeah, I
with
think it'll be match up, and I think there's going to be a lot of quickness shown on the floor. So
Okay.
So it should be an interesting pretty good matchup here, I think.
Yeah.
So
that game at 7 o'clock tonight on 92.7 WPKG. The winner will play the winner of Cuba City and New Glarus
Yep. And that sectional championship for now is scheduled at the Dells
for Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, that's a 1 o'clock start for that one
Okay, so.
on Saturday. And I would think they would keep that there.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
That
absolutely.
looks like a midpoint.
Yeah, that looks like a very good midpoint for all those teams because where New Glarus comes from, and then Cuba City, Neilsville, and then Westfield. So
Yeah.
it looks like a pretty good telling point there. So
Some other area teams that are
yeah,
involved in sectional semifinals tonight in Division 4. A Cloverbell Conference West matchup as
yeah.
Fall Creek takes on Regis at Osseo Fairchild.
yeah,
And then
and a good one I think, Larry McDonald. Catholic going up against Phillips at
Yeah.
Ladysmith. I think that should be a dandy.
Yep.
And nothing. And I think Fall Creek has a great team, but boy, I almost look for that team that comes out of that McDonald Phillips team to be a head for state.
Oh, yeah. McDonald, we saw them
Yeah.
play Neilsville in the Cloverbell Conference crossover, and boy, they look tough.
Yeah, and Phillips still has what was the name of that girl a couple of years ago that was a big time scorer?
Oh, yeah. Is she
And-
still there yet?
No, her younger sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
And I believe their dad is the coach too.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, but Fall Creek, I tell you, is no slouch
Well,
either.
yeah, Jason Martzke has a heck of a team there.
Yes, he does.
And he's beaten McDonald this year, so he's got that on his hat. So, and they are playing. They don't travel too far. They're in Osseo tonight.
Right,
So,
yeah.
So that and same for Regis, but I look for Fall Creek to come out of that game, and I'm not sure where does the sectional is that scheduled in Osseo too? I believe.
Oh, now you got me on that
Okay,
one. I did not
we'll
look ahead.
forget that.
I did not look ahead that far.
We'll forget that.
Yes.
Yeah, so
You can look on WIAAWI.org and check that
A
out.
lot of stuff in D5 though, Larry. One that I chuckle about, but boy, I'll tell you what, I think you got to take this team seriously. Number 9 Gilman versus number 2 Owen Withee, and that game, of course, was originally scheduled to be at Ashland.
Yeah.
That
But
one
Gilman
got,
knocked off all the top seeds that are up north.
Yeah, and they had no gas money left because
Yeah.
they had been to South Shore and Hurley on the same weekend, so they had to do something, and so they got Stanley Boyd. And nice job there. And Owen Withee, of course, has been strong the whole second half. They vaulted into that number 2 spot in Cloverbell East, and Coach Jowling has got them playing really well. So it should be a good matchup over there, though.
Yep.
So
winner-
Gilman playing very well.
Winner moves on to the sectional final on Saturday.
Yeah, against-
And I don't think anybody would have thought at least a Gilman-Owen Withee
No.
matchup. Maybe
Well-
Owen Withee against somebody, but
Well, how about 3 teams from the Cloverbell East winning regional titles?
right?
That's something that of course we've had it for years there with back in the day with Nielsen and Owen Withy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you throw a Gilman in there now. So, but anyway, the winner of that game faces the winner of Clear Lake versus Turtle Lake. And that Clear Lake has been ranked very highly in D5 all season.
Yes, they have.
And they've had a good program up there the last few years.
Yep.
But anyway, that championship game is scheduled to be played at Hudson Saturday. So,
Okay.
all
right.
And then Athens, another team that's really come along in the second half of the season. We've talked about them, but they were a 4 seed. They will face number 2 Pittsville at Merrill on tonight. Excuse me. And the winner of that game faces number 1 Lena and number 3 Wabeno Leona, and that championship game is scheduled for Anigo Saturday. So.
Okay. Yeah, Pittsville, another team. Don't look past them.
Oh, you bet. Yeah, they got a Grimm girl.
Reese Grimm is on that team.
And Athens has got some nice girl. I believe a Coker girl who's a very good ball player, and so that should be a good matchup.
That should be a good matchup there.
Number 1 seed at Assumption. They are taking on number 2 Lord's Academy, and that game is at Oshkosh West tonight. And the winner of that game faces the winner of number 1 seeded Albany Monticello versus number 3 Sheboygan Christian. And that game will be played at Hartford Union Saturday.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So
some area teams still alive for girls basketball.
And not that any local flavor here, but there is a game tonight at Marshfield, Larry. Number 1 seeded Menominee taking on number 4 Mosinee.
Okay.
And that is in D2. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think that one got moved.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That was not originally scheduled for Marshfield, but that is played there tonight.
Yep. So that should be a good game. Menominee went to state last year. Their head coach, Storm Harmon, and he is the son-in-law of Chuck Gregorich from Loyal, originally from Loyal.
Well, look at that. Getting everything going here.
Yeah.
Small world. Yes. Small world. You just never know where people, how they're related sometimes. All right, so that's girls basketball, sectional semifinals tonight. Boys basketball, they will have their regional semifinals tomorrow night, and the Neillsville boys, we did that game against Melrose Monduro on Tuesday night in Division 4, and boy, I tell you, Neillsville really came alive after a slow beginning.
Boy, very slow beginning, and it just had the shots, just couldn't hit them, and Melrose came out red hot.
Yeah.
They were banging threes, and they got up 23-11, and all of a sudden, Neillsville went into a pretty much a full court press. And, of course, we talked about this on the broadcast. Melrose Monduro went with 5 guys in the first half.
Yeah.
And by the time that half was done, their tongues were hanging out. And a lot of turnovers.
Yeah.
A lot of turnovers. And that turned a 23-11 game into, I believe, a 30-23 game pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And it was 39-32 at halftime.
At halftime.
And the second half, Warriors continued. And Andrew Hazer, nice career high, 28 points, and a great slam dunk to put the dagger in there.
And from what I see in the stats later in the day, early in the day on Wednesday, 15 rebounds to go with the 28 points.
He's been very dominant on the board. He was very dominant on the boards against Fall Creek and the last game against Spencer too. I'm sure he's had double digits in all 3 games. So.
And then when Coach Geyer talked after the game, he kind of switched what he was doing early in that game. He was his game plan. He just kind of threw it out the window and went to something else, and it worked.
He had one plan, and I don't know how much pressing came into that, but I think once he's seen that the ball handlers for Melrose Monduro were a little below average, he went after him with gun, and he was bringing guys in left and right and keeping fresh legs on the court at all times.
Yeah,
and it worked big time.
Yes, it did.
So
now Neillsville will travel to Luther tomorrow night, and that is a 7:00 start for that regional semifinal. And Luther features the top 3-point shooter in the state in Division 4.
This guy got some gaudy stats.
Yeah.
Wow. Logan Barr, he's a 6'7" forward. I could not find if he's going somewhere to play ball though. I looked for that for a while.
Could be undecided.
But anyway, 24 points a game, 10.9 rebounds. He's 50% from three-pointers, which we said is top in D4 this year. At the free throw line, he's made 124 out of 136, 91%.
Wow.
That is the highest percent I have seen this year.
Wow. For that many free throws,
that's
good.
many free throws. That is all. That's NBA type there.
Yeah.
You know.
When you shoot that many free throws, your percentage usually isn't that high.
You think of Giannis had that kind of percentage.
We can only dream.
Yeah.
We can only dream.
But this kid. But they're 18-6 on the year. Of course, they are the defending D4 state champions, but I think they lost some seniors this year.
They lost some guards,
yeah,
from what I hear.
And so we'll see what happens. Maybe this pressing that the Warriors do can bring in some easy turnovers. You got to look them right in the eye. You can't worry about that state championship they won. Yeah, it's going to be a nice banner hanging on that wall there, and all nice for us to see. But you got to forget that and play your game.
Well, if they come in and play like they have the last two games.
And I have the opinion, Larry, this Neilso bunch can beat anybody any night, and they can lose to anybody any night. So that is my feeling about this team. And I love these kids. They're great kids. They're respectable, but that's the way it turns out. They can lose to anybody any given night, but they can beat anybody given night. And if they play like they did against Fall Creek Saturday, and Fall Creek is a team that probably is comparable to Luther.
Yeah.
I think they will be right in this game.
Yeah.
And keep it close, and hopefully you have a chance to win it at the end of the game.
I think that little phrase right there, keep it close, is going to be the key.
Yeah. You can't worry about and
if they get too far behind early,
it's going to be over. And you've got to get on this guy for 3 points. If he's shooting 50%, you got to get a hand in his face. I'm not going to tell you what defense to play, but I sure would look at some kind of like a diamond and one or something.
Well,
like
at 6'7", he's going to be tough to defend.
Yeah, exactly right. And the Warriors don't have anybody.
Right. I can defend out there.
Sam Hayes is about the closest, and that's not Sam's forte on the outside.
Right.
So you're looking more at Andrew Hazer or Ashton Schultz, both a couple inches shorter. But you sure don't want to lose either one of those guys to foul trouble on this guy.
Or maybe a Jace Peckel to muscle him around a little bit.
Yep. Let Peckel and Zosky use their 10 fouls.
Yeah, well,
And they frustrate people.
Right.
They did it last night.
They did.
The Warriors did a good Byam from, Melrose, 18 points coming in a game, and he was great early, but the Warriors started getting in his way, and he got frustrated. He tried to put the ball on the floor. Turnovers, started missing some easy shots, and when you took that away, you took away their offense.
Yep. All right, so regional semifinals for boys coming up tomorrow night, and some area teams besides Neillsville still alive. You got a Loyal Columbus Catholic matchup.
And I like this matchup from a Loyal standpoint. Loyal went into Pittsville, and I'm not surprised they beat them because they're playing pretty well, but they beat them by 30 points.
Yeah, I was surprised at the score.
And, you go back to last week, Loyal was the only team in the Clover Bell East to win a crossover game. They beat Regis at home, and Regis sat in third for most of the season in the West. So Loyal playing very well. I'm not going to say they're going to go in and win, but I think they're going to make this a pretty good game.
Well, and granted, it was at Loyal, but the last time they played Columbus Catholic, it was very close.
And if Columbus shoots like they did last Saturday, it could even be better.
Apparently they didn't do that against Cooley Christian Providence Academy.
Yeah. Columbus is very comfortable in their own gym.
Yes,
but,
88 points.
And there again, Larry, we just said it with Neillsville. Loyal can keep it close and have a chance to win at the end. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Also, tomorrow night, Port Edwards is at Alma Center Lincoln, Thorpe at Rib Lake, Flambeau at Owen Withy, Athens at Drummond, and Newman Catholic is at Pacelli in Division 5. Division 4 matchups, Regis at Aquinas, Osseo Fairchild at Fall Creek, McDonald Central at Spring Valley, Colby at Marathon.
That's
could be some points scored.
Interesting matchup. There should be some 3-point shooting there. I think so. But
I don't know if Colby has anybody that can stop Grant Warren.
No, you got Tucker Hayes who matches up height-wise, but Tucker Hayes is no
skill-wise.
No, he's not even close. So.
No, and Marathon's a team that I think they have all the tools to probably advance on to state.
They are the best of a D4 team in this area that we cover anyway. So.
Washburn is at Stratford tonight, tomorrow night. Iowa Scandinavia at Edgar, and Phillips at Auburndale. Yeah. In Division 3, Baldwin Woodville is at Bloomer. Altoona is at Elk Mound. Division 2, Medford at New Richmond. Seymour at Mosinee. Division 1, Chippewa Falls will be at Marshfield, and Holman is at Stevens Point.
Be interesting to see what Bloomer does in D3. We were very impressed with them last Saturday, watching them play Columbus Catholic. They're a big, strong team, and got some good 3-point shooters also. Be interesting how they do in D3.
You bet. So. All right, so that's what's happening in high school sports. A lot of it going on this weekend. Once again, where are they now?
Okay, Larry, we're going up to Stratford. We're going to talk about Billy Nigaman. And Billy, a 2006 graduate of Stratford High School. Billy was a 4-year member of the Stratford football team. His freshman year, the Tigers were 11-1 on the season. They were Merriwood Conference champs, qualifying for the WIA Division 6 playoffs, where they lost in Level 4 to Hilbert 9-7. Billy carried the ball 17 times for 110 yards, and on defense, he had 1 pass interception. His sophomore year, the Tigers were 14-0 on the season. They were Merriwood Conference champions, qualifying for the WI Division 6 playoffs, where they would make it to the state championship game, where they would defeat St. Mary Springs 29-13 for the championship. In that game, Billy carried the ball 6 times for 27 yards and had 1 reception for 9 yards, and he also scored a 2-point conversion. On defense, he had 8 tackles. For the season, he had 85 rushing attempts for 570 yards and 8 touchdowns, and on defense, he had 5 pass interceptions. He was chosen to the first-team All-Merriwood team on defense. His junior year, Stratford was 14-0. They were Merriwood Conference champs, qualifying for the WI Division 6 playoffs, where they would advance to the championship game, where they would defeat Pecatonica Argyle 32-3 for the title. In that game, Billy had 13 attempts for 140 yards and a touchdown. He also had 4 receptions for 17 yards. On defense, he had 5 tackles and 1 sack. For the season, Billy had 135 carries for 1,150 yards and 12 touchdowns. On defense, he had 62 tackles and 4 pass interceptions. He was first-team All-Merriwood on offense and defense and was a Channel 7 All-Star on defense. His senior year, Stratford was 14-0, Merriwood Conference champs, qualifying for the WI Division 6 playoffs, where they would advance to the championship game, where they defeated St. Mary Springs 25-7 for the title. In that game, Billy carried the ball 14 times for 79 yards and had 1 reception for 12 yards, and on defense, he had 5 tackles. For the season, Billy carried the ball 115 times for 1,020 yards and 11 touchdowns. He was a first-team All-Merriwood on offense and defense. He was a Channel 7 All-Star on defense and honorable mention All-State on defense, and was chosen to play in Wisconsin football coach's All-Star game. In the winter, Billy was a 3-year letter winner on the Tiger basketball team. His sophomore year, Stratford was 17-6 on the season, losing to Mishicot in the sectional finals, 65-47. Billy averaged 5 points per game. His junior year, Stratford was 19-3 on the season. They were Merriwood South champions, losing in the regional semis to Kobe. Billy averaged 11 points on the season and was honorable mention all-conference. His senior year, Stratford was 19-2 and Merriwood South champs, losing in the regional finals to Iola Scandinavia. Billy averaged 13 points on the season and was second-team all-conference. After graduation, Billy enrolled at UW-La Crosse and joined the Eagle football team. His freshman year, the Eagles were 5-5. Billy played special teams and backup defensive back and had 10 tackles on the season. His sophomore year, the Eagles were 3-7 on the season. Billy, starting at defensive back, had 50 tackles, with 2 tackles for loss and 2 pass interceptions on the season. His junior year, the Eagles were 5-5 on the season. Billy had 23 tackles, with 2 tackles for loss and 3 pass interceptions. His senior year, La Crosse was 3-7. Billy had 28 tackles, intercepted 3 passes, and also returned 15 punts for 160 yards with a long return of 54 yards. He was named second-team All-WIAC that year. Billy graduated from UW-La Crosse in 2012 with a degree in marketing. Today, Billy is an account executive for Wide Effect Talent Solutions. Wide Effect is a company that helps companies find, hire, and retain the right people for their business needs. Billy and his wife, Lindsay, reside in Milton, Wisconsin. Billy Nigaman, Larry.
There you go.
How about that for a career, huh?
Wow.
About 53-1 playing football.
Some good teams.
That was the best of them.
Yeah, that was the best of the best right there. It's always surprising or interesting how these guys go from being top-notch running backs in high school
to defensive backs
in
college.
I always seem to be a defensive back in college or special teams.
I said about the only guy in the area that really hasn't done that is Corey Gellerneck from Marshall. He set some rushing records at point, but most of these guys end up playing defense. I guess that just means they're good athletes too.
I guess. You talked about the Wisconsin Football Coaches Association All-Star game. Well, the rosters were announced, and there are a number of area players on those teams, and a number of these players on that North small team We heard a lot of them. When we were doing games, state games and conference
you
games.
got Edgar, Stratford, and teams like that.
Yeah, you got Kohler Kilty from Stratford and Gavin Leonard.
Yeah.
Austin Remington from Mondovi, Peyton Snyder from Mondovi, Chase Sturm from Stanley Boyd. In fact, a couple of coaches will be on the coaching staff for that North small team. Chris Trewicki of Edgar and Nick Sturm of Stanley Boyd.
Okay, both assistant coaches.
Yeah,
So.
and then a number of guys in that North 8-player team.
Yeah.
We heard from Logan Hansen, Thorpe, Denzel Sutton of Thorpe, Colin Dahlman of Owen Withee, Troy Duhlman of Gilman, and then Keldrick Stokes of Thorpe is going to be the head
man.
coach.
Head man.
Going to be head coach for that North.
Yeah, we just talked about Troy Duhlman from Gilman Wrestling. So,
Yeah.
pretty good football player, too.
Yeah, a linebacker for the Gilman Pirates in that 8-player football team. Those all-star games for football will be July 19th and 20th.
Yeah, in Oshkosh.
Yep.
The 8-man is on Friday night, and then small school is early afternoon on Saturday, and with the large schools to follow. So.
Yep. All right. One note here: Marty Herman was he's a longtime listener of our show here, and he mentioned that there's some ties from a North Carolina women's basketball player to our area,
Okay.
and that is Alyssa Usby.
Okay.
Apparently, is the second cousin of Bruce Whitty,
Oh, really?
Natalie Whitty, and Rhonda Whitty.
Okay. Sure.
So she came from Rochester.
Okay.
And she is on the North Carolina Tar Heel women's basketball team, where she's been a starter as a guard.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's nice to know.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
And she's there now with Lexi Donarski,
okay. Yep.
who transferred from Iowa State out to North Carolina.
Yep.
And we met Lexi Donarski's mom, as a matter of fact,
You
in
bet.
the elevator last year.
Yeah, and then her younger sister, I believe, went out to Montana.
Yeah.
Or someplace out there. So,
Yeah.
her mom, she showed us to our announcing place last year when we were at Eagle Stadium there.
Yeah,
so
for the Colby game last
and
year.
then their dad is still the coach at Aquinas, and he when we did the Assumption game, he was scouting Assumption that night.
Yes, he was.
So
Yep.
you bet. So
All right, so I just thought I'd throw that out there
that is
for
pretty
Marty.
cool. We don't hear enough of that. That's
Yeah, well, you mentioned, how, some of these, what was it, Gregorich.
Gregorich,
Yeah.
And then Randy Slesker has a nephew playing for Tomahawk in the state hockey tournament.
As a goalie.
Yeah, which is awesome. So
Yeah, always nice to hear that kind of
you bet.
stuff here
Yeah,
on Two Guys on Sports.
Yeah, we need to do more of that, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the Wisconsin Badgers, they had 5 guys in double figures the other night, but still couldn't beat
they
Indiana.
just cannot do it on the
Can't
road.
finish
here.
the games.
Not here in the second half. 74-70. So, yeah, they're getting down point where they're getting their chances of getting in the NCAA are slipping a little bit, and they've got a game against Illinois at home Saturday. Illinois ranked 13th in the country, so that's
Granted, they do have 18 wins,
Yeah.
but it may come down to how well they do in that Big Ten tournament.
yeah, they might need 2 wins in the Big Ten tournament. So we'll see. But I haven't looked at Joe Lenardi's thing lately. That's kind of the one I pay attention to because he seems to be about the closest one.
Oh,
so.
is who's getting into the tournament?
Yeah, he's ESPN bracketology.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
But,
Well, you know how that goes sometimes. Kind of like the NFL draft.
yeah, well, the only thing guaranteed about the NCAA bracket, somebody's going to be complaining they got snubbed.
You got that
That's all
right.
I know.
Yeah, that's about
Because
right.
I sure can't pick the games.
No. All right, the Bucks seem to be coming around here a
They're
little bit.
starting to fit into Doc Rivers' system. They've played 3 games, Larry, since the All-Star break, and all 3 good defensive games.
Yeah.
They held Minnesota to 107 points in an overtime game last Friday night. Now, Grant Philly is without Joe Embiid.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they held both Philly and Charlotte under 100 points. So that in this day and age, I don't care who the pro teams put on the floor. You
Right.
usually score 100 points.
Yep.
And when I came home Tuesday night from the basketball game, I think it was like 85-41, the game between Charlotte and Milwaukee. So
Yeah, it ended up being 123 to 85.
yeah, the subs were already in, I think, late third quarter,
Yeah.
I think. So, but they're at Charlotte tonight and then at Chicago Friday. And I don't know if you noticed this, but Channel 13 out of Eau Claire is broadcasting some of these games live. Now, last Friday night they did the Minnesota game, and they are doing the Chicago game tomorrow night, too.
Really?
Yeah, so just like the old days when there was local broadcasting. So
Yeah.
so
I did not know
I don't
that.
know if they're getting away from the Bally Sports Network a little bit or something.
Okay.
There's been rumors about the Bally Sports
Yeah,
Network
yeah,
here
right.
for a long time.
Yep,
But
yep.
but anyway, their game from Chicago is on Channel 13 Friday night. But then they host the Clippers Monday, and then they're heading west, and they start out with Golden State Wednesday. So, and I believe
Okay.
they go to L.A. Lakers next Friday. So,
All right.
so-
Okay. So not
But
an
I
easy
think
schedule.
things are starting to look better for them.
Yeah.
They're playing good defense now. So
Yeah,
so,
that was the main thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they could score.
yeah, absolutely. They were winning games 135 to 125.
Yeah.
Which
Giving up too
that
many
gets
points.
it done in the regular season, but they ain't going to get it done in the playoffs. So,
No.
So good for Doc Rivers, I think.
You
So,
bet. Anything else on the docket here?
Brewers getting going in the exhibition play, using Sal Frelick a little bit at third base, trying to get all these outfielders in the game. That could be an interesting thing there. So.
You know, I look at their box scores, at some of these games. There's a lot of names I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I go through the pitching and there.
Yeah, they had nobody. I said they have not hardly pitched. The guy they signed, Junk they signed, I think he pitched yesterday.
Okay,
So,
yeah, I don't. A lot of those
Yeah,
names
I have not heard of Freddie Peralta pitching
No,
yet.
not yet.
So, but
obviously they're trying to get a look at everybody.
yeah, they want as many arms as they can. They're looking. There might be two guys. There might be two starting spots open if the right guys do it. I think their bullpen is fairly set.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of live arms down there. But I think if some couple of guys could impress big time in spring training, they might have a chance at starting.
Sure.
So
All right. Well, we got girls basketball tonight.
yeah, good luck to the Warriors.
Yes, Neelsville taking on Westfield over in Stevens Point. 7 o'clock is game time on 92.7 WPKG. And Dick and I will be down in Onalaska, Luther High School for Neelsville and Luther tomorrow night.
Should be another good one.
7 o'clock on 92.7 WPKG. That'll do it for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
Talk to you next week.